You know, when I first started working with the England team, I had no doubt we had a fantastic group of players, just a brilliant group of players. But really nothing had changed a great deal in the England setup from when I was playing, when you saw me in that opening video running around at Twickenham all those years ago with long hair. We were still ranked 6th in the world. And to me, the biggest thing that had to change was the mindset of a whole team, a whole group of players, almost a whole generation of players.
I've kind of tried and define this over the years, especially when you move into the England coaching job I did in '97. Right? I was determined to run it as a business. But number one priority was everybody playing for England was going to enjoy themselves.
Enjoyment isn't having a few beers or going down the pubs or having a laugh. And the enjoyment from the England camp was definitely, number one, was they wanted to be at the cutting edge of world sport. Not of world rugby, but of world sport. When they came to the England camp, they wanted to see things differently. They were prepared to take risks, as long as we were trying to move things forward. That is how they defined enjoyment. The second way they defined enjoyment, because the England players didn't actually work for myself. They didn't work for the rugby union. They all worked for their clubs, Leicester and Northampton and the rest. But when they came to the England camp, they wanted to be seen it to be significantly better than their club environment. So those two tasks alone are hugely challenging if you're in charge of the actual team trying to create that. But that was how they defined enjoyment. I personally take it a step further, because Harvard Business School would tell you spend 75% of your time at work doing this sort of stuff. So I say to the people I'm working with just two questions. One, how many of the people you're working with, your fellow colleagues, whatever business you're in, how many of those people would say they enjoy working with you? Question mark. The second question I asked people privately and publicly was, how many of your partners would say, or your customers, your clients, would say they enjoy doing business with you? If you understand that word enjoyment, it can be incredibly, incredibly powerful.
You know, the number one thing, if we could go to the World Cup as number one ranked team in the world, that was the goal. Because if you can do that over a 4-year period, you've obviously doing everything right to get there. Businesses tend to hugely over-exaggerate what you can do in 12 months, you know, when you're setting your forecasts and your targets. And sometimes it's hugely over-exaggerated what you can achieve. But businesses totally under-exaggerate, if that's the right word, what you can achieve in 3 or 4 years. I mean, 4 years is a long time. You can change the world in 4 years. And we really sat down after '99, where we had a poor World Cup, and just threw out all the blueprints and started again and wrote this business plan for 4 years on how we could win the World Cup, and just left no stone unturned. So it was a case of, was the World Cup your finest hour? Obviously that was the kind of, you know, the icing on the cake, but I just think that 4-year period of your life is fine. That was my best 4 years of my life, definitely, in terms of business and achievement and enjoyment and meeting people and just having a great time. And then to actually achieve something so tangible at the end was fantastic.
I do actually think sport has a huge amount to learn from business. It's interesting that the business community seems to have a huge fascination with sport. Whenever a sports team does well or an individual does well, everyone's clamoring to find out all about it. My mindset has always been completely the opposite, because of my business background. I think sport has a huge amount to learn with business.
I just think fundamentally football has to change in terms of the way it's being run, the way it's being coached. Because go back to the Brazilian thing, you know, the way my mind works is that, you know, people say to me, oh, yeah, Brazil are favourite, you know, they've got you know 11 fantastic players, you know. Yeah. So I immediately go, my immediate thing is why? You know, why have they got 11 better players? Literally, you'd probably say their 11 best players are better than any other 11 in the world, including our superstar, including Gerrard and Rooney. You know, it's arguable whether you'd put them in. So I'm going, why? You know, why? And of course you get all the nonsense, well, it's inherent, and it's, you know, because they play football on the beaches, and it's just rubbish. You know, because I went to Brazil and a month over there just to answer myself this question. And I just think what they've been able to do is really move the game forward in terms of how they approach it, in terms of their coaching and the way they work.